All praise to the Most High Yahweh, Bahashem Yahweh Shai. Double honor to the apostles and elders of Great Millstone. Enough respect to the brothers teaching the truth all over the earth. This lesson is going to be entitled, What and or Who is Leviathan? Now on the screen, I got these guys. They got a page called Teachers of Truth. And there's some fallouts or either kickouts. I don't remember exactly what went down, but they used to be a part of the Atlanta camp. I know the one main guy, the little short dude with the green garment, used to be a part of the Atlanta camp. And whatever happened, he went his own way, right? And since then, the dude just been going off more and more. And he just had a grudge, like a hurt little bitch. And he thinks that it's his job to go around breaking everybody, watching everybody videos. Like the Most High gave him a special spirit where he can go and break down everybody's videos and tell them they wrong on this breakdown, they wrong on that breakdown. In any event, you see here a year ago, this guy got on a garment. They camp used to wear garments, right? Even right here. See, this guy got on the green garment. The big dummy, he got on the black garment, right? And brothers done got into it with him and rebuked him and made videos against him and whatnot, right? But the dudes are proud, man. Proud for no reason, really. Because as you're going to find out, this dude is hilarious, man. And he got a very proud spirit on him. Now, as you can see here, he'll clip little portions of video and then say, oh, this is a private interpretation, the mark of the beast, a private interpretation, Ezekiel 37. See, he don't believe, this guy been going backwards ever since he fell out or ever since he got kicked out or whatever happened. If you see now on the screen, these guys no longer wear garments, right? They don't even wear garments anymore. And they got on fitted hats out there call themselves teaching. And they basically just like little gnats. They don't believe in the 12 tribe sign. They think there's no nuclear missiles now. The earth, America's going to be destroyed by lava. And even the guys that used to be friends with, they're going against them now too. So to speed up to get into it now, a few weeks ago, I put up a video from, as you see here on the screen, it says in private interpretation, GMS South Carolina 04. And it was on my channel, but it's the Pittsburgh brothers. I re-uploaded their video. They was going into Leviathan. So this dude clipped a portion of their video, and then he tried to go into his own breakdown on Leviathan. And we're going to play it because this guy says that Leviathan is lava, okay? So we're going to play a little bit of it here, and I want you to hear what he says. Check it out. It's going to play in a minute. It's buffering right now, but it's going to play.
What you told him? Shit, he good.
Oh, like I said, if you notice, they don't wear garments anymore. You got hats on their heads, and it's going to be three of them.
Yeah.
All three of them.
So get that Isaiah 27 and 1.
Matthew 24 and 4. And Yahweh shall answer and say unto them, take heed that no man deceive you.
And y'all got deceived when that brother, not brother, that witch broke down that Leviathan, man. All right? He deceived you, man. Because in Job 41, it's referring to the lava, man, the volcanoes. The Lord.
So the guy said in Job 41, Leviathan is referring to the lava, the volcanoes. And when he said that brother or that witch deceived you, he was talking about when he clipped the video here from the brothers in Pittsburgh. The head of the camp in the middle, Ariala, he's calling that brother a witch. But this dude right here is the witch because he going off, as you're going to hear it. Listen.
Lord destruction, man.
That's right.
In Isaiah 27 and 1, that's what it's referring to. In Job 41, it's referring to the lava, man, the volcanoes, the Lord destruction, man.
That's right.
In Isaiah 27 and 1, that's what it's referring to. But what he did, like a true wizard would do, a sorcerer, all right, he correlated it with songs, all right?
Absolutely.
And that's all out of context, bro.
Come on, man.
That's not within context of what.
Absolutely. What's the Leviathan in Second Ezra? What's that then?
Okay,
Yeah,
that ain't the nation.
They ain't the nations. Come on.
You know what I'm saying? So
Crazy, man.
you got to beware of that, man. The Lord say beware of those ravening wolves, man. Y'all get lulled to sleep, man, with these guys' personalities.
Right.
Yeah,
we ain't got the garment. We ain't got the bandana with the Power Rangers. And we like Power Rangers, we probably get a lot of props, right? Oh, yeah, no doubt. They're putting on the show. Yeah.
Now you can see right away these guys, they got hurt spirits because these dudes ain't even got on garments, man. Brothers you don't supposed to prophesy without a garment on, man. I mean, truthfully, there's times where you're going to be in the car, you doing this and that, but when you go out to camp, you don't supposed to prophesy without a garments on, man. Then on top of that, these guys got fitted hats on. Now, like I said, it was a few weeks ago the brother had forgot his garment, and he was standing in the background, right? But normally brothers don't go out and prophesy. I mean, there are exceptions to every rule, but for the most part, these guys do not wear garments anymore. They don't have on fringes, nothing, man. They're just doing their own thing, which they waxing worse and worse. Now, let's just go on here.
Because like a white man, we get a lot of people follow this thing, right?
They're acting,
right?
Y'all wish I said teach the all preachers, man.
acting. Still on
That's
that.
good, that's good, bro.
Well, we won't show you. Read that Isaiah 27 and 1. All right.
I'm gonna bring that with strong too.
Okay, yeah, definitely.
In the day, the Lord,
In that day, all right, meaning in the day of destruction. Go ahead.
with his sword and great and strong sword, shall punish. That's the key.
Okay, in that day, the Lord with his great and sword and powerful sword shall punish,
H6485.
which is the word punish.
Come on. To muster. To muster. Appoint.
Appoint.
Reckon. Visit. To attend. To pay attention to. Whole bunch of words.
So in other words, that punish is not like punish like we would know.
Right.
All right, it's talking about to muster up something.
Now we read in context.
Con.
With his sword and great sword and strong sword,
So that's the Lord's great and sword and strong sword. All right, which is what?
shall muster or appoint Leviathan.
Leviathan. And what the Lord used, starting with Yahweh side down to the angels, man. That's what he used. All right, go ahead.
That piercing serpent.
That what?
That piercing serpent.
And why they call Leviathan a piercing serpent? All right? They call it because he was sent to destroy it, for one. But just because the law of, you know, like a snake on the ground. That's why they called it and referred to it as a serpent.
Absolutely.
It was never referred to as a sea monster in biblical terms, man.
Never.
That's the translation that the so-called white man used.
Absolutely.
Now, wait a minute. When he wanted to bring up punish, did he not just go to the Strong's first to look at his very first word? And that's Esau's translation. And he's going to go on to admit that that's Esau's Strong's. But then he goes to it and then he says, excuse me. He said that when we say it's a sea monster, we got that from Esau. But then you just looked up the same, you used the same source to look up your words. See, these guys are contradictory. Let's just listen though, man. It's tough to listen to because these guys got no fire. The spirit ain't on them. And they just doing this, they're just being demons, man. But listen.
Look up the word Leviathan, you know?
It's H3882.
What does it say?
It says Leviathan, sea monster.
That's the translation from the so-called white man. Now here's the root.
Now you just looked it up in Strong's and you said that's the translation from the white man. But then you looked up your word in Strong's and you said, hey, that's what it meant.
Word,
Gotcha.
what the root word say? Before the so-called white man translated, put his hands on.
H3867. The root word is to join.
And how you say that root word though?
It's lava.
It's what?
Lava.
Lava. That's what it's talking about. So go back to the Isaiah 27 and 1.
It says, shall muster Leviathan, that piercing serpent.
Yeah.
Even Leviathan,
Even that lava, go ahead.
that crooked serpent.
That crooked, let's see what crooked means.
Crooked. Let's see. That's H6129.
Torturous. Ain't it?
Torturous.
All right? That's what's going to torture them, man. All right, go ahead.
And he shall slay
And he shall slay,
the dragon that is in the sea.
he going to slay the dragon. So that's your nations right there, man. That's your Edomites right there. That's your heathens. All right? Let's prove it. Read what you got, huh?
So Ezekiel,
And if you want to listen to more of this vomit, you can on your own time. I'm losing brain cells by the minute just listening to these guys, man. And I mean, right there you can see you got big dummy, bigger dummy, and biggest dummy. And obviously these guys, as children, ate paint chips and they drank inner city water. That's why they damn cerebral cortexes is rotted out. They don't know shit. Which really, the spirit of the Lord ain't on these guys, man. So this guy says that Leviathan is lava. Now he equated Isaiah 27 and 1 with Job chapter 41, which they talking about two different things. You see, they're talking about two different things. That's why the title of the video is Who and or What is Leviathan, because Leviathan is a who and it's a what. And we're going to find that out. Now, to be fair, Leviathan is mentioned in the, I think in 2nd Esdras, but that's going into something else, okay? For the sake of this, we about to go into the scriptures now. Like I said, these guys are waxing worse and worse, man, because now they got fitted hats on or baseball hats out there, no garments. When you go back, though, to last year and leading up to now, these guys used to wear garments, see? So, you can see the Most High, if they had the Spirit of the Lord on them at one time, is leaving, man. And Jake is fucking proud, okay? Now, let's read here. And it's important to note, all you brothers and sisters out there, this is the big mistake that guys make when they fall out of the truth. They start talking about you ain't reading in context, and they go into words. You think that you're going to self-will yourself to get the breakdowns of the scriptures. You're doing the same thing that Esau do. There's always the possibility of scriptures being multifold, and there's also the spiritual breakdowns in the scriptures other than just reading it as a story. And you need the Holy Spirit to get that. That's why you got a guy saying that the damn Leviathan is lava. And also, too, here, let's go to do videos, man. Salakia. If I can get to it. If you go to their videos, right here, he put a video up. Just bear with me 1 second. I'm going to try to get through this as quick as possible. Right here, warning report. Right? And he said, warning report, Job 41 and 19 through 21, Leviathan is brimstone volcano. This is what the guy said Leviathan is right here. That's what he's talking about. But in order to understand that in Job, you got to go to chapter 1 and read about it. And we're going to do that. But as I'm saying this, when guys get proud and they wax proud in the scriptures, they start saying things that are not there. Things in the scriptures that are not there. And then they start talking about, you go to the Strong's word, this word mean this word don't mean that. Look, Esau ain't got the truth. So the Holy Spirit is going to give you the real breakdown of the scriptures. You can't just look up words and think you're going to know what it means. You're going to be self-willed and you're going to get this. No, the Most High got to give you the spirit of truth. And obviously them guys don't have it. Matthew 13 and verse 10, and the disciples came and said unto him, why speakest thou unto them in parables? He answered and said unto them, because it is given unto you to know the mysteries of the kingdom of heaven, but to them it is not given. For whosoever hath, to him shall be given, and he shall have more abundance, but whosoever hath not, from him shall be taken away even that he hath. And these guys are losing the little bit that they did have. They're losing it. That's why they waxing proud. That's why they think that Leviathan is damn lava, man, which is completely damn ridiculous, as you're going to see in the scriptures. And Isaiah 27 and 1 and what's written in Job don't have anything to do with each other. But yet these guys trying to make it all one breakdown, and they going off. Therefore speak I to them in parables, because they seeing see not, and hearing they hear not, neither do they understand. And in them is fulfilled the prophecy of Isaiah, which saith, by hearing ye shall hear and shall not understand, and seeing ye shall see and not perceive. And we'll stop right there on that, because we got more scriptures to cover. Now let's go to Job chapter. Now the guy says, Job, what was the title of this video? Job 41 and 19 and 21. And also he mentioned it in his video. 41 and 19 and 21. When you read 19, it says, out of his mouth go burning lamps and sparks of fire. Out of his nostrils go a smoke as out of a seething pot or cauldron. That's not what Leviathan is. That's what's coming out of his mouth and out of his nose. And it does indicate fire, torturous fire, right? But it ain't describing Leviathan. Let's go up to verse 1. Job 41 and 1. Canst thou draw out Leviathan with an hook? The subject is Leviathan. Or his tongue with a cord which thou lettest down? See, there's an object, something known as Leviathan. And then we're going to read his description. Canst thou put an hook into his nose, or bore his jaw through with the thorn? Will he make many supplications unto thee? Will he speak soft words unto thee? Will he make a covenant with thee? Wilt thou take him for a servant forever? Wilt thou play with him as with a bird? Or wilt thou bind him for thy maidens? Shall the companions make a banquet of him? Shall they part him among the merchants? Canst thou fill his skin with barbed irons, or his head with fish spears? Lay thine hand upon him, remember the battle, do no more. Behold, the hope of him is in vain. Shall not one be cast down even at the sight of him? when you see this great beast, the sight of him is going to cast you down. It ain't talking about no damn volcano. What this guy talking about, man? What the fuck is they talking about? But see, that's what he calls somebody else a wizard, but he's the one that's being a damn wizard. Because clearly this is talking about something else. Let's read more of the description. None is so fierce that dare stir him up. Who then is able to stand before me? See, the Most High said, look, you can't even stand before Leviathan. You think you're going to be able to stand before me? Who had prevented me that I should repay him? Whatsoever is under the whole heaven is mine. I will not conceal his parts, nor his power, nor his comely proportion. Who can discover the face of his garment, or who can come to him with his double bridle? Who can open the doors of his face? His teeth are terrible round about. His scales are his pride, shut up together as with a closed seal. One is so near to another that no air can come between them. Talking about his scales. They are joined one to another. They stick together that they cannot be sundered. By his neesings a light does shine, and his eyes are like the eyelids of the morning. Out of his mouth go burning lamps, and sparks of fire leap out. Out of his nostrils goeth smoke as out of a seething pot or cauldron. His breath kindleth coals, and a flame goeth out of his mouth. You see that? So this great Leviathan, he's got things on his back that's so close together, right? It said his scales. I got a picture here. Got the brother from also from Georgia, I believe. He drew this picture. And brothers often say Leviathan, that movie they made, Godzilla, is based upon what they read in the scriptures about Leviathan, man. Right? And that's what, so this dude making fun of the fact that brother said we never said sea monster. We said Leviathan was a great beast, which is clearly described in the scriptures. But let's read more about that description. Because it says what? That he breathes fire. Is that not depicted on the image here? A spark coming out of his mouth, breathing fire. But let's go on. So it says, verse 22, in his neck remaineth strength, and sorrow is turned into joy before him. The flakes of his flesh are joined together. Does a volcano have flesh? Does a volcano have scales? Hell no. Does a volcano have, well, it does have fire coming out of his mouth, but still. The flakes of his flesh are joined together. They are firm in themselves. They cannot be moved. His heart is as firm as a stone, yea, as hard as a piece of the nether millstone. When he raiseth up himself, the mighty are afraid. By reason of breakings they purify themselves. The sword of him that layeth at him cannot hold, the spear, the dart, nor the habergeon. He esteemeth iron as straw, and brass as rotten wood. The arrow cannot make him flee. Sling stones are turned with him into stubble. Darts are counted as stubble. He laugheth at the shaking of a spear. Sharp stones are under him. He spreadeth sharp pointed things upon the mire. You see, now it's basically saying what? No matter what kind of instruments you got, you can't pierce his flesh. Why? Because of those scales that are fit tightly together, one upon another. You can't pierce this beast, right? As it goes on, he maketh the deep to boil like a pot. He maketh the sea like a pot of ointment. With what? With the sparks coming out of his nostrils, right? With the fire. We go back up to verse. It says, verse 19, out of his mouth goeth burning lamps, and sparks of fire leap out. Out of his nostrils goeth smoke as out of a seething pot or cauldron. His breath kindleth coals, and a flame goeth out of his mouth. You see? So that's what he uses to make the sea boil. And then when it talked about his scales, it says darts are counted as stubble. He laugheth at the shaking of a spear. Clearly this is talking about a beast. Sharp stones are under him. He spreadeth sharp pointed things upon the mire. He maketh the deep to boil like a pot. He maketh the sea like a pot of ointment. He maketh the path to shine after him. One would think the deep to be hoary. Upon earth there is none his like, who is made without fear. He beholdeth all high things. He is a king over all the children of pride. The Most High is basically saying what? The children of pride will be Esau. And this damn beast, and we keep saying at some point it's going to manifest itself, man. And we don't know. That's just one of the wonders of the Most High, things that we have not seen, but we know exist. Why? Because it's written in the scriptures, man. Right? So clearly, it's not, when he said Leviathan is lava or the volcanoes, that dude going off, man. That dude is going off. Because when you look here, this is what, was being depicted. And that's probably not the exact image, but it doesn't matter. We don't know, right? Now, when you read in Psalms 104:24, this is what it says. O Lord, how manifold are thy works. In wisdom hast thou made them all. The earth is full of thy riches. So is this great and wide sea, wherein are things creeping innumerable, both small and great beasts. There go the ships. There is that Leviathan whom thou hast made to play therein. See that? You see that? So it's obviously a beast in the sea, and no one knows where it is. We don't have any idea. We can't say all that because the scriptures don't say of his location. I'm gonna read it again. O Lord, how manifold are thy works. In wisdom thou hast made them all. The earth is full of thy riches. So is this great and wide sea, wherein are things creeping innumerable, both small and great beasts. There go the ships. There is that Leviathan whom thou hast made to play therein. And the apostles go into that sometimes about how when Esau, the so-called white man, had the Titanic, he boasted that not even God could sink the Titanic. And they say that it hit an iceberg and sank, but it was made to where it would withstand impacts like that. So what the apostles said they believe happened, Leviathan came in and destroyed the Titanic. But Esau ain't going to tell you that. That's why it says, there go the ships, there is that Leviathan. And you see an image, a likeness of what it may look like on the screen, right? And that's what it is. Now, when you go to Isaiah 27:1, and also, before we go there, when you look up the word Leviathan in the scriptures, right, it's 4 instances where it shows up, and these are the scriptures. But I didn't read them all because they don't all relate to what we're going into. I read what's in Job 74, and I read Job, the whole chapter of 41. Obviously, it's describing a beast. Now, when you read it in Isaiah 27:1, and first, let's do this. Let's go to Job 41. That's why we tell you that you can't always take Esau's Strong's Concordance verbatim. We didn't get that from Esau. Okay, we didn't get the breakdown of what Leviathan is from Esau. We get it from the scriptures and through the Holy Spirit. So when you look at Leviathan right here, right, it says Leviathan. That's why the dude said it's lava with his dumb ass. When you look it up, it will say this. From a wreathed animal, an example of serpent, especially the crocodile or some other large sea monster. Right? So it does give that indication. But that's in Job 41. Now, it's going to use the exact same word when you look it up here in Isaiah 27:1. But it ain't talking about a literal a beast, as we're going to go on to find out. Right here, Leviathan, same word. When you look it up, it's got the same definition, but it's got a different meaning because prophetically, Isaiah 27:1 has nothing to do with Job. It has nothing to do with the book of Job. So we found out what Leviathan is. Now let's find out who Leviathan is, because the what is a beast. The who is a group of nations or a group of people. Now, when you read in Isaiah 27, and before we even go there, let's first go back to 26. You got to read first Isaiah 26 at the end. And me and the brother was going into this at camp the other week or last week. Before you get to Isaiah 27:1, you got to get to Isaiah 26. Isaiah 26:20 says this: Come, my people, enter thou into thy chambers and shut thy doors about thee. Hide thyself as it were for a little moment until the indignation be overpassed. This is when the elect goes up into the chariots, right? Even in our Revelation when it says, come up hither. Listen. Let me get it. And I don't want to rush through this, but I want to go through it quick. But there's, a little bit of reading that we got to do. But, the ones that's chosen to receive it, you'll receive it. Revelation 11:2, if you go to Revelation 11:8, it talks about the Israelites. And their dead bodies shall lie in the street of the great city, which spiritually is called Sodom and Egypt, where also our Lord was crucified, right? In verse 11, and after 3 days and a half, so that's the spiritually dead bodies of the Israelites in Babylon the Great, spiritual Sodom and Egypt. And after 3 days and a half, the spirit of life from the Most High entered into them, and they stood upon their feet, and great fear fell upon them which saw them. The Israelites woke up to the truth. They were standing upon their feet, no longer dry bones, right? No longer the living dead, as it were, right? They're not dead bodies. They're not dry bones. They're not in the congregation of the dead. They're spiritually alive, and everybody's afraid now. The Hebrew Israelites are waking up. And they heard a great voice from heaven saying unto them, come up hither. And they ascended up to heaven in a cloud, and their enemies beheld them. And the same hour was there a great earthquake, and the 10th part of the city fell, and in the earthquake was slain of men 7,000. This is when America, Babylon the Great gets destroyed. As soon as the elect goes up, right, and they go safely into the chariots, then the nuclear missiles come down and they destroy America, Babylon the Great, the 10th part of the city. I just did a lesson on that the other night. Now going back to Isaiah 26. So that gave you in the New Testament an account of what's about to happen. Damn it. An account of what's about to happen. Here in Isaiah 26 and 20, come my people, enter thou into thy chambers and shut thy doors about thee. Hide thyself as it were for a little moment until the indignation be overpassed. Right. The elect went up into the chariots, and the same hour was there a great earthquake. That's going to be that indignation. The nuclear missile is going to cause a great earthquake. For behold, the Lord cometh out of his place to punish the inhabitants of the earth for their iniquity. The earth also shall disclose her blood and shall no more cover her slain. Now, this dude said punish didn't mean punish as we know. It meant to muster. Well, let's look at it right here, because when it just in this verse, it says to punish, right? It don't mean to muster. The Lord's going to punish. It says to oversee, muster, charge, care for, miss, deposit, appoint, avenge, bestow. And really it would be avenge. And then down here it says punish, reckon, call to remembrance, right? So it does mean punish, to avenge, as you're going to read it here. For behold, the Lord cometh out of his place to punish, to avenge, or to punish, literal punish, the inhabitants of the earth for their iniquity, right? The earth also shall disclose her blood and shall no more cover her slain. Then you continue on in Isaiah 27 and 1. So once the elect go up into the chariots and the Lord come out of his place to punish the inhabitants of the earth for their iniquity, in that day, at the end, the Lord, Yahweh, with his sore and great and strong sword, shall punish, avenge, get revenge on Leviathan, the piercing serpent. Wait a minute. So Leviathan in Job 41 was talking about a great beast, right? The Most High is going to punish a great beast who he created to be a beast? Hell no. That's how you know these scriptures don't have anything to do with each other. Job 27 and 1 doesn't have anything to do with Job chapter 41. Job chapter 41 and what's written in Psalm 74 is talking about a great beast known as Leviathan. This is a spiritual title being put on the individual, which is talking about Esau. Because when you read in Revelation 11, when the elect went up into the chariots in the same hour was there a great earthquake, the Most High sent that nuclear destruction and that great earthquake to punish, right, America, Babylon the Great, and Esau, the so-called white man. But don't take my word for it. Let's read a little more. And that day the Lord with his sore and great and strong sword shall punish Leviathan, the piercing serpent, even Leviathan, that crooked serpent, and he shall slay the dragon that is in the sea. Now, before we go on, let's get the applications of the word dragon, and serpent. In Revelation 12, when you look at it, I'm going to start at verse 1. There appeared a great wonder in heaven, a woman clothed with the sun and the moon under her feet, and upon her head a crown of 12 stars. This woman represents Israel, the 12 stars of the 12 tribes. And she, being with child, cried, travailing in birth and pain to be delivered. And there appeared another wonder in heaven. Behold, a great red dragon, having 7 heads and 10 horns and 7 crowns upon his heads. And his tail drew the third part of the stars of heaven. Now, this great dragon was the Roman Empire back during the time when the Lord was born on the scene, right? That child that was coming forth, that the woman was about to give birth to was Yahweh Shai. You see, the Roman Empire wanted to devour him up, because what? King Herod was an Edomite. He wanted to have the Lord put to death. He wanted to have him destroyed, right? And who was in power during that time? The Romans were in power. Herod was an Edomite, even though he pretended to be, he was the king of Judea, as it were, if that was his title that they gave him. Now, let's jump down a bit, because when you look at the term dragon and beast, and sometimes it does mean empire. Usually in the scriptures and end time prophecy, it does mean empire. Now, when you read about the war in heaven, Revelation 12 and 7, and there was war in heaven, Michael and his angels fought against the dragon, and the dragon fought and his angels, and prevailed not, neither was their place found any more in heaven. Stop right there. Because the war in heaven is not talking about Satan being kicked out of heaven. It's talking about America, Babylon the Great, right? And the nations of the world trying to fight the Savior at the second coming with their space force. As a matter of fact, if you go to Revelation, was we already had Revelation 12? Salakia. I'm sorry. I want to get Revelation 19. And it's a little bit of, it's a little bit of tedious detail, but you should get the understanding and the meaning of this. Because the war in heaven, this is what it says. It's not talking about Satan, even though it said the devil and his, or the dragon and his angels. Right? Revelation 19:11, and I saw heaven open, and behold, a white horse, and he that sat upon him was called Faithful and True, and in righteousness he doth judge and make war. See, this is the Savior coming back, right? Verse 14, and the armies which were in heaven follow him upon white horses, clothed in fine linen, white and clean. And out of his mouth goeth a sharp sword, that with it he should smite the nations, and he shall rule them, the nations, with a rod of iron, and he treadeth the winepress of the fierceness and the wrath of Almighty God. So the Savior and his angels coming down to the earth, right? Verse 19, and I saw the beast and the kings of the earth and their armies. See, the beast, who was the beast? America, NATO, and the EU, right? The great red dragon, as it were, the revived Roman Empire, and the kings of the earth and their armies. It's not talking about devils, demons, fighting the cosmic battle in the heavens against God and the angels for rulership over heaven. No, it's going to be on the earth. And I saw the beast and the kings of the earth and their armies gathered together to make war against him that sat on the horse and against his army. And the beast was taken, and with him the false prophet that wrought miracles before him, with which he deceived them that have received the mark of the beast and them that worshipped his image. These both were cast alive into a lake of fire burning with brimstone. See? So when the nations of the earth try to fight the Lord at his second coming, they're going to get destroyed. That's the war in heaven, immediately above the earth. It told you plainly that's talking about a literal battle when the Lord comes back. So when you go back here, verse 7, and there was war in heaven. Michael and his angels fought against the dragon, and the dragon fought against his angels and prevailed not. Neither was their place found any more in heaven. The so-called white man got satellites, International Space Station, and things going on up there in the heavens above the earth. But when the Lord and the angels come back, that space force going to get annihilated. The armies of the earth going to get annihilated. And all that shit up there they got in the heaven, them satellites, that space trash, the International Space Station, going to get all thrown down, and Esau is going to be brought down to the ground. He's not going to be up in the heavens doing shit anymore, sending up rockets and spacecraft and SpaceX rockets and missiles. He ain't going to be doing that no more. Now, when you read verse 9, it says, and that great dragon was cast out, that old serpent called the devil and Satan, which deceiveth the whole world. He was cast out into the earth, and his angels were cast out with him. They got defeated. That serpent is talking about is Esau, the so-called white man. Why? Because he has that serpent spirit. Even when you look up the word here in the Greek, serpent, which is ophis, right? If you look at it here, the characteristics of the serpent as alluded to in Scripture are mostly evil. And it gives you it's treachery. It gives you a little run around a little bit. And they talk about it as the devil, right? But when you go here to Strong's info, it says through the idea of sharpness of vision, a snake figuratively as a type of sly, cunning, an artful, malicious person, especially Satan or serpent. And the spiritual demon Satan is a spirit. But in the physical, who is the damn devil and the serpent on the earth? Esau, the so-called white man. But don't take our word for it. We're going to get more scriptures. That's what that's talking about. How did he deceive the whole world into thinking that Jesus, so-called Jesus, was white, the Israelites were white, that he's, that he's the Most High, or he deceived many ways. Caesar Borgia, Christianity, right? Taking words out of the Bible, trying to remove this breakdown. Even now, I'm blocking out videos. Now, going back to Isaiah 27:1, when the Lord saved the elect, when he takes the elect up into the chariots, the same hour, Esau, the so-called white man, is going to get punished and taken out of power. You can read that in Isaiah 63:1 too. The Lord is coming back to judge Esau, Edom, Right? Now, let's read it again. In that day, the Lord with his sword and great and strong sword shall punish Leviathan, the piercing serpent, even Leviathan, that crooked serpent, and he shall slay the dragon that is in the sea. Let's read Revelation 17:1. And there came one of the 7 angels which had the 7 vials and talked with me, saying unto me, Come hither, I will show unto thee the judgment of the great whore that sitteth upon many waters. What does that mean? With whom the kings of the earth have committed fornication, and the inhabitants of the earth have been made drunk with the wine of her fornication. You got one nation above all nations that are over them, right? Let's go. I'm trying to see where. Now, this is obviously talking about Mystery Babylon the Great, but there's a particular thing that it's going to say. Revelation 17 and verse 15. And he saith unto me, The waters which thou sawest where the whore sitteth are peoples and multitudes and nations and tongues. So these peoples, right, the sea, as it were, are peoples, kindreds, multitudes, nations, and tongues. The dragon that's in the sea is the ruler over the people. But also, this devil has all the major trade and shipping routes, right? He's over all the major trade and shipping routes with his navy, right? With his iron rule. If you look into major shipping routes for global trade, that's a strategic thing where Esau wants to control the seas, as it were, the shipping industry. That's why he wants the Straits of Hormuz from Iran. That's a key trade point. That's why let's look at it. The importance of maritime shipping, right? Ocean shipping services transport more than 80% of all globally traded products. See, in fact, maritime trade is a huge part of what makes the world go round. The clothes you wear, the vehicle you drive, and the fuel, the TV you watch, and the cell phone in your hand likely came from countries like China, Japan, Germany, and the United Kingdom. But have you ever thought about the shipping routes ocean vessels take to ensure a quick and safe delivery? So it's dealing with major world shipping lanes. This is how you control the world partly. If you control the shipping routes, you control the world. The dragon that is in the sea is Esau, the so-called white man, controlling all the global trade. How did he get rich? Triangular trade, rum, molasses, and slaves, controlling the shipping industry. It talks about it in Revelation 18. Let's read it. All the major shipping areas, the main ones, Esau controls them. The English Channel, we already know Esau controlled the English Channel, right? Strait of Malacca. It says now that's over there in the far east. You know, it says the Malacca Strait is a narrow 550 miles and is the shortest route between the Pacific and the Indian Oceans. But at the same time, Esau is what? Over the United Nations, and he can cripple you through trade. Even if you do control one or two of the straits, if other countries, because Iran controls the Straits of Hormuz pretty much, but Esau gonna find a way, right, to shut off trade to your country. Because why? He got influence over all the nations, man. The earth was given into his hand. Panama Canal, we know Esau controls the Panama Canal. That's why he went down there fucking with Zebulon down there years back, right? They want to control. That's why the whole thing with what's that dude name, man? Damn, it's at the tip of my tongue. The big drug dealer that was down there. His name might come to me, man. Right now, it's escaping me. But that whole thing with them down there in Panama, right? Esau set up that whole drug thing and making them people out to be terrorists, so he could go down there and take over the Panama Canal, man. He been controlling it for a long time, man. Been controlling the Panama Canal. And you can go and read the Suez Canal, right? Esau controls the Suez Canal. You can read on it. Bosphorus Strait, the Turkish Strait of Bosphorus. Hey, we know that the Edomites are Turco-Edomites too. Esau controlled that thing too, man. He controlled the whole world. Strait of Hormuz. Now, it says the Strait of Hormuz connects the Gulf of Oman with the Persian Gulf. So Esau right now is in beef with the Iranians. Why? Because he wanted. It's all got to do with money, man. All of it's got to do with money. And they got a lot of oil over there. He says Hormuz is also a critical lane for oil transportation. And Esau want to get his hands on that. But Russia's like, hell no. The Danish Straits. The Danes are Edomites. And Esau rule over that. St. Lawrence Seaway. That's over here in North America. Near what probably considered the most important shipping lane in North America. The St. Lawrence Seaway connects the Atlantic Ocean with the Great Lakes. You know Esau controlled that shit, man. So I brought that out just to show You want to control the seas, and anybody that know anything, you know that. Now, when you read about Revelation 11, Babylon the Great in Revelation 18, it says this. Revelation 18:1, and after these things I saw another angel come down from heaven, having great power, and the earth was lightened with his glory. And he cried mightily with a strong voice, saying, Babylon the Great is fallen, is become the habitation of devils, and the hold of every foul spirit, and the cage of every unclean and hateful bird. And that's what's going to happen to America after it's destroyed. For all nations have drunk of the wine of the wrath of her fornication, and the kings of the earth have committed fornication with her, and the merchants of the earth are waxed rich through the abundance of her delicacies. How do they get the delicacies back and forth to America, Babylon the Great? Through the seas, through the trade routes. And this devil is hard on you. If you got something that he wants, if you want to trade by sea, he going to put sanctions on you if you don't play ball with whatever he wants you to do. And all nations been affected by this devil, man. He is the dragon that is in the sea, in the people's multitudes, nations, and tongues, over them, and in the literal seas, because he going to shut off your trade. If you don't fuck with him, if your oil prices ain't what he wants them to be, if you ain't willing to let him get the best price for whatever goods you got, he's going to fuck with you, man. If he wants something out of your country and you won't give it to him, he going to put international sanctions on you. You ain't going to be able to get certain goods. Remember, anybody that's old enough can remember back when a while ago, Russia wasn't even able to get Levi's. They wasn't able to get Pepsi. They didn't have no McDonald's over there. That's how much power the so-called white man got, man. And it ain't just over here in America. You got the Rothschilds out of there, over there in London. All of Europe is ruled by Esau, man. The whole world really is ruled by Esau. You can't do nothing. You can't ship nothing in your country. You can't do shit unless Esau tell you can do it, man. Revelation 18:11. And the merchants of the earth shall weep and mourn over her, for no man buyeth their merchandise any more. The merchandise of gold and silver and precious stones and of pearls and fine linen and purple and silk and scarlet and all fine wood and all manner of vessels of ivory and all manner of vessels of most precious wood and of brass and iron and marble and cinnamon and odors and ointments and frankincense and wine and oil and fine flour and wheat and beasts and sheep and horses and chariots and slaves and souls of men. Do they not buy a bunch of chariots and cars and all that shit over here? Of course they do. This devil is in the seas, man. It's talking about that this system, but mainly Esau, the so-called white man, is Leviathan that's in the sea, and he's gonna be punished by the Most High. Now let's read a few more precepts. We got Revelation 17. We're gonna leave Revelation 18 up. When you read in Ezekiel 28:1, of course, this is talking about ancient Tyrus and Zidon, right? And when you read it as far as the history of the scriptures concerned. But when you in the spirit and prophecy, it's talking about Esau, the so-called white man. Listen, the word of the Lord came again unto me, saying, Son of man, say unto the prince of Tyrus, thus saith the Lord power, because thine heart is lifted up, and thou hast said, I am a God. I sit in the seat of God in the midst of the seas, yet thou art a man and not God, though thou set thine heart as the heart of God. Now, stop right there. Because at a time there was an ancient naval power known as Tyre and Zidon. As a matter of fact, when you read Joel chapter 3, we ain't going to go there now. That was the same Tyre and Zidon who had a hand in, which were Hamites, selling the Israelites to Esau, the so-called white man, the Grecians, as it were. Them and the Arabs, right? You also had Tyre and Zidon, which were Hiram. The navy of Hiram was part of, they was Tyrrhenians, right? And Sidonians, which King Solomon had a great affinity with King Hiram, which is why what? You found artifacts from the Olmecs over here on this side of the world, because why? King Solomon was sending the Tyrrhenians and Sidonians over to this side of the world to get peacocks and all those different spices and trees. We done been through that in the scriptures before. But on up to today, the great naval power now is who? America, Babylon the Great. And listen close again. It says, Son of man, say unto the prince of Tyrus, thus saith the Lord power, because thine heart is lifted up, and thou hast said, I am a God. I sit in the seat of God in the midst of the seas, yet thou art a man and not God, though thou set thine heart as the heart of God. See? So let's get a precept. Because when you read in 2 Thessalonians 2:3, it says this, let no man deceive you by any means, for that day shall not come, except there come a falling away first, and that man of sin be revealed, the son of perdition. The son of perdition is Esau, the so-called white man, who opposeth and exalteth himself above all that is called God, all that is worship, so that he, as the Most High, sitteth in the temple of the Most High, showing himself that he is the Most High. Did it not just say that over here? Yeah, it did. I am the Most High. I sit in the seat of the Most High in the midst of the seas. Same dude. Read a little further. It gives you who he is. Remember ye not that when I was yet with you, I told you these things, and now ye know what would hold it, that he might be revealed in his time. It's time for him to be revealed. For the mystery of iniquity doth already work. Only he who now letteth will let until he be taken out of the way. And then shall that wicked be revealed, whom the Lord shall consume with the spirit of his mouth. Who is the wicked? Who controls the whole earth? Esau, the so-called white man. The earth was given into the hand of the wicked, right? Also, showing that he controls the whole world. He controls the seas, the waters, and even if he doesn't control a particular sea route, he's going to press down on you so that he gets the influence, so that he gets the benefit of your sea route. That's why the rest of the world is basically, when it comes to Esau, they're second rate, man. You know, sure, you might have the Straits of Hormuz, Iran. You got your little bit of wealth, but they reign 1 hour with the beast. He's allowing you to do that because really he going to force World War III to come. The Most High is going to make World War III come, but Esau thinks he's doing it because Esau want control of the Straits of Hormuz. He want that oil out of Iran. He wants something out of Syria. He wants something out of Africa. All these places, man. This devil's going to get what he want. But the Most High going to get what he want. That's to destroy these devils, man. And then shall that wicked be revealed, whom the Lord shall consume with the spirit of his mouth. This truth, the spirit of the Lord's mouth, coming out all over the earth, consuming these devils, and shall destroy with the brightness of his coming. That's the second part. When the Lord comes and says, come up hither, then he's going to punish Leviathan that's in the sea. Even him whose coming is after the working of Satan with all power and signs and lying wonders. When you read in Revelation 12, and it said, talked about the devil and Satan, this is his physical counterpart. Even him whose coming is after the working of Satan, the wicked of the whole earth, Esau, the so-called white man. Now, when you go back to Ezekiel 28, he says what? Behold, thou art wiser than Daniel. There is no secret that they can hide from thee. The Edomites break this down. They'll say this is talking about Satan right here, right? They say this is talking about Satan when he got kicked out of heaven. But let's listen to some keys in here. And we're going to put it also with Isaiah 14, showing you that it is Esau, Lucifer, Leviathan, as it were, the devil. Behold, thou art wiser than Daniel. There is no secret that they can hide from thee. With thy wisdom and with thine understanding, thou hast gotten thee riches and hast gotten gold and silver into thy treasures. Didn't we just read about the great naval power of Babylon the Great? So if this is Satan, Satan got riches, Satan got gold and silver. He's a spirit. What does he need with gold and silver? By thy great wisdom and by thy traffic, thou increased thy riches, and thine heart is lifted up because of thy riches. Wait a minute. Let's look up traffic. And by thy traffic, Rakalah, trade, merchandise, traffic. Ooh, see it? By your traffic. And what does the scripture say in Revelation 18? Let me see if we still got it up. Revelation 18. And you go up to the top. It says, verse 3, for all nations have drunk of the wine of the wrath of her fornication, and the kings of the earth have committed fornication with her, and the merchants of the earth are waxed rich through the abundance of her delicacies, her traffic. By thy great wisdom and by thy traffic hast thou increased thy riches, and thine heart is lifted up because of thy riches. We know it ain't talking about Satan. Therefore, thus said the Lord power, because thou hast set thine heart as the heart of God. They got a God complex. Behold, therefore I will bring strangers upon thee, the terrible of the nations. Wait a minute. If you're talking about Satan, what can the nations do to Satan? He's a spirit. He's not a man. See? I will, the terrible of the nations, and they shall draw their swords against the beauty of thy wisdom, and they shall defile thy brightness. Remember that word brightness, because when you're brighter, when you have the light, you're the illuminated ones, right? They shall bring thee down to the pit, and thou shalt die the deaths of them that are slain in the midst of the seas. Ooh, will thou yet say before him that slayeth thee, I am the Most High? But thou shalt be a man and not the Most High in the hand of him that slayeth thee. What man is this? Esau, the so-called white man. Leviathan, the dragon that is in the sea, the piercing crooked serpent. Thou shalt die the death of the uncircumcised by the hand of strangers, for I have spoken it, saith the Lord power. You see? Now when you go down, verse 12, Son of man, take up a lamentation against the king of Tyrus, and say unto him, Thus saith the Lord power, thou sealest up the sum, full of wisdom and perfect in beauty. The Edomites will say again and again, because of what's written, that it's talking about Satan. But let's keep reading. Thou hast been in Eden, the garden of God. Wait a minute. Why does it say that? As the apostles broke down to us, and we telling you now, the same spirit that's in Esau, the so-called white man today, was in Cain, and is also the serpent that was in the garden. That's what it's talking about, his spirit, man, right? And even now, with all his riches, every precious stone, and also it says that has been in Eden, the garden of the Most High. People think that the Garden of Eden was one particular place. The word Eden in Paleo Hebrew means Adon, which is paradise. The whole earth was like a paradise, man. Every precious stone was our covering: the sardius, the topaz, and the diamond, the beryl, the onyx, the jasper, the sapphire, the emerald, and the carbuncle, and gold. The workmanship of thy tabrets and of thy pipes was prepared in thee in the day that thou wast created. Thou art the anointed cherub that covereth. People think right there when they see it says cherub, brother, he's an angel. Well, sometimes men are called angels, and sometimes angels are called men. The word cherub in the Paleo Hebrew, karawab, it only means messenger. Esau says that this is talking about an angelic being. Well, let's read on and see if it's talking about an angelic being. And I have set thee so, thou wast upon the holy mountain of the Most High. Thou hast walked up and down in the midst of the stones of fire. Thou wast perfect in thy ways from the day that thou wast created till iniquity was found in thee. By the multitude of thy merchandise, they have filled thee with the midst of thee with violence, and thou hast sinned. Wait a minute. What? So if this is talking about angelic beings or the spiritual demon Satan, what merchandise and what use of merchandise does a spiritual being have? I'm going to wait for the answer, because I know that they ain't going to come. You see? By the multitude of thy merchandise, it's talking about Esau, man. Men on the earth. It ain't talking about no damn spiritual demon Satan. Spiritual demon Satan has no use for merchandise. What he going to do? He going to go to the spiritual world and buy him a new pitchfork to stab souls in hell? He going to buy a new gold tip pitchfork this time. This one got a special stabbing power. It ain't like the platinum one he already got. Give me a break. By the multitude of thy merchandise, they have filled the midst of thee with violence, and thou hast sinned. Therefore I will cast thee as profane out of the mountain of God. And I will destroy thee, O covering cherub, from the midst of the stones of fire. Profane is a key word, right? We've been telling you that Esau was profane. Let's go to it. We've been telling you that Esau was profane, which means outside of the temple. Didn't the Most High say, I'm going to cast you out of the mountain of the Most High? Meaning he was rejected. Jacob have I loved, Esau have I hated. Let's go to Hebrews chapter 12, verse 16. And even though this is in the Greek, that's in the Hebrew, the word profane is there, and the meaning of it, or the connotation of it. Hebrews 12:16, lest there be any fornicator or profane person as Esau, who for one morsel of meat sold his birthright. For you know how that after, when he would have inherited the blessing, he was rejected. For he found no place of repentance, though he sought it carefully with tears. He's profane, the profane man, Esau, the Edomites, the white man, the Caucasians. Most High says, thou art the anointed cherub that covereth. I'm sorry, Salakia. Let's go down. By the multitude of thy merchandise, verse 16, they have filled the midst of thee with violence, and thou hast sinned. Therefore I will cast thee as profane out of the mountain of the Most High, outside the temple. And I will destroy thee, O covering cherub, from the midst of the stones of fire. When we read up, didn't it say that all the nations was going to defile his brightness? The nations can't defile the brightness of Satan, the morning star. They can't do shit to Satan. They can't even, what you going to do? You going to locate him in hell, then you going to blow up portions of hell? No, man. Satan is all over everywhere, right? He goes back and forth to heaven, giving reports to the Most High, to the earth and to heaven, walking up and down in the earth. He's a spirit, but he has physical flesh doing his bidding, his people, the physical counterparts, him whose coming is after the working of Satan, that damn Leviathan. Thine heart was lifted up because of thy beauty. Thou hast corrupted thy wisdom by reason of thy brightness. I will cast thee to the ground. I will lay thee before kings, that thou may behold, that they may behold thee. Stop right there. They're going to be cast down to the ground, and people are going to be able to see him. Let's go to Isaiah chapter 14. Isaiah chapter 14 and verse 12. How art thou fallen from heaven, O Lucifer, son of the morning? I got to go up a little bit. Verse 9. Hell from beneath is moved for thee to meet thee at thy coming. It stirreth up the dead for thee, even all the chief ones of the earth that have raised up from their thrones all the kings of the nations. All they shall speak and say unto thee, art thou also become weak as we? Art thou become like unto us? Thy pomp is brought down to the grave, and the noise of thy vows, the worm is spread under thee, and the worms cover thee, represent the corrosion, the confusion that's going to cover Esau. How art thou fallen from heaven, O Lucifer, son of the morning? How art thou cut down to the ground, which didst weaken the nations? Right? You're the dragon that's in the sea. This ain't talking about the spiritual demon Satan. Lucifer right here represents who? The Illuminati, right? The enlightened ones. See? The illuminated ones, which means what? They have the light. They have the knowledge. They're enlightened. For thou hast said in thine heart, I will ascend into heaven. I will exalt my throne above the stars of the Most High, which the stars of the Most High are the Israelites. We read it earlier in Revelation 12, a woman with a crown of 12 stars, the Israelites. I will sit also upon the mount of the congregation in the sides of the north. I will ascend above the heights of the clouds. I will be like the Most High. He sitteth in the temple of God, showing himself that he is God, right? Same dude. Yet thou shalt be brought down to hell, to the sides of the pit. They that see thee shall narrowly look upon thee and consider thee, saying, is this the man that made the earth to tremble, that did shake kingdoms, that destroyed the world as a wilderness? That made the world as a wilderness and destroyed the cities thereof, that opened not the house of his prisoners? Right. Same dude. Let's go real quick for a precept. Do I need to get it? Yeah, I'm going to go ahead and get it from over here. That opened not the house of his prisoners. See? Is this the man who owns all the prisons today? And you may find an incident where some other nation owns a prison. Big fucking deal. Overall, what's the biggest prison population on the planet and who owns them? White people. America, Babylon the Great. Revelation 2 and 10. Fear none of those things which thou shalt suffer. Behold, the devil shall cast some of you into prison, that ye may be tried, and you shall have tribulation 10 days. Be thou faithful unto death, and I will give thee a crown of life. Let's look up devil. Let's look up devil. Diabolos, right? Now, I don't know what definition he's going to give, but it's supposed to say, let me look at it. It says here, especially Satan, false accuser, devil, slanderer. Now, when you look it up on a desktop or on a tablet, it says metaphor applied to a man. Okay, so it's not the spiritual demon Satan, because how's the spiritual demon Satan going to throw you into prison again? How's he going to get merchandise and make sales with his traffic, right? And have riches. You know, it's not talking about the spiritual demon Satan, but it's talking about his people on the earth, the Edomites, him who's coming is after the working of Satan. Isaiah 14 and 15, yet thou shalt be brought down to hell, to the sides of the pit. They that see thee shall narrowly look upon thee and consider thee, saying, is this the man that made the earth to tremble, that did shake kingdoms, that made the world as a wilderness, and destroyed the cities thereof, that opened not the house of his prisoners? All the kings of the earth, all the kings of the nations, even all of them, lie in glory, every one in his own house. But thou art cast out of thy grave like an abominable branch. Satan got a grave. And as the raiment of those that are slain, thrust through with the sword, that go down to the stones of the pit, as a carcass trodden under feet. Thou shalt not be joined with them in burial, because thou hast destroyed thy land and slain thy people. The seed of evildoers shall never be renowned. Wait a minute. Is this talking about the spiritual demon Satan? Satan got land. He got people. He has seed, merchandise, traffic, riches. Prepare slaughter for his children, for the iniquity of their fathers, that they do not ride nor possess the land, nor fill the face of the world with cities. For I will raise up against them, said the Lord of hosts, and cut off from Babylon. Today is Babylon the Great, the name and remnant and son and nephew, said the Lord. Wait a minute. Spiritual demon Satan got a nephew. He got sons. Hell no. I will also make it a possession for the bittern and pools of water, and I will sweep it with the besom of destruction, saith the Lord of hosts. When is he going to do that? After the elect are caught up to the chariots. The Lord going to come out of his place to punish the inhabitants of the earth. In that day, he's going to punish Leviathan, that piercing serpent. Now, also, when you go back to the top, it tells you it's talking about a literal kingdom. This is what's going to happen. Isaiah 14 and 1, for the Lord will have mercy on Jacob and will yet choose Israel, and set them in their own land, and the strangers shall be joined with them, and they shall cleave to the house of Jacob. This is all the Israelites right here. The strangers are Israelites. And the people shall take them and bring them to their place, and the house of Israel shall possess them in the land of the Lord for servants and handmaids. This is the other nations. And they shall take them captives, whose captives they were, and they shall rule over their oppressors. This represents in that day. And it shall come to pass in the day that the Lord shall give thee rest from thy sorrow, and from thy fear, and from the hard bondage wherein thou wast made to serve, that thou shalt take up this proverb against the king of Babylon, same God as the prince of Tyrus, or the king of Tyrus, and say, how hath the oppressor ceased, the golden city ceased? The Lord hath broken the staff of the wicked, right? The same wicked that got revealed in 2 Thessalonians, the same wicked that rules over the whole earth, the same wicked that's the dragon, the demon, the Leviathan, the crooked serpent that's in the sea, same guy. The Lord hath broken the staff of the wicked and the scepter of the rulers. And a scepter, what? Is a thing that a ruler has, and a staff. He was given rulership over the whole earth. He who smote the people in wrath with a continual stroke, he that ruled the nations in anger is persecuted, and none hindereth. How did he rule over the nations? Part of the way he did it was by his trade, right? His fornication. He ruled over them through the seas. He choked the life out of the whole earth. He wrapped his tentacles around the planet, and he squeezed, man, like a great sea monster, like a great dragon. The whole earth is at rest and is quiet. They break forth into singing. See? Yeah, the fir trees rejoice at thee, and the cedars of Lebanon saying, since thou art laid down, no feller is come up against us. Right. He going to get taken out of power. So going all the way back to Isaiah 27:1 now. After the elect go up into the chariots, in that day the Lord with his sore and great and strong sword shall punish Leviathan. We got more to read in Ezekiel 28. I forgot. Go back to Ezekiel 28, brother. And 16, it says, by the multitude, you know what? I got to go down here. That's pretty much it. By the multitude of thy merchandise, they have filled the midst of thee with violence, and thou hast sinned. Therefore I will cast thee as profane out of the mountain of God. And I will destroy thee, O covering cherub, from the midst of the stones of fire. Thine heart was lifted up because of thy beauty. Thou hast corrupted thy wisdom by reason of thy brightness. I will cast thee to the ground. I will lay thee before kings, that they may behold thee. Didn't we just read in Isaiah 14? It says all the kings of the earth are going to say, is this the man? When you get cast down to the pit, meaning taken out of power. If you read Isaiah 47:1, it says, come down and sit on the ground. There is no throne, O daughter of the Chaldeans. Thou hast defiled thy sanctuaries by the multitude of thy iniquities, by the iniquity of thy traffic. Therefore will I bring forth a fire from the midst of thee. It shall devour thee, and I will bring thee to ashes upon the earth in the sight of all them that behold thee. See that? All they that know thee among the people shall be astonished at thee. Thou shalt be a terror, and never shalt thou be any more. You're going to be cast down. You're going to be chased out of the earth. Let's get that. Chased out of the earth. Because that's them illuminated ones of the world. That's Esau being taken out of power, man. Job 18 verse 18, it says this. His remembrance shall perish from the earth. I got to go up. Yeah, we just start right here. It shall dwell in his tabernacle because it is none of his. Salakia. I got to get the, talking about the wicked. Job 18:5. Yeah, the light of the wicked shall be put out, and the spark of his fire shall not shine. So that's who it's talking about, right? The wicked being taken out of power. It says, it shall devour the strength of his skin. Even the firstborn of death shall devour his strength. What's the strength of Esau, the so-called white man? America, Babylon the Great. And the firstborn of death is Yahushua. Isaiah 63:1 is you can see it right here. His confidence shall be rooted out of his tabernacle, and it shall bring him to the king of terrors. The king of terrors is the Most High. It shall dwell in his tabernacle because it is none of his. Brimstone shall be scattered upon his habitation. This is Leviathan, brother. You niggas. His root shall be dried up beneath, and above shall his branch be cut off. His remembrance shall perish from the earth, and he shall have no name in the street. He shall be driven from light into darkness and chased out of the world. Why does it say that? because he's not going to be Lucifer, son of the morning anymore, the enlightened ones, the illuminated ones. He shall be driven from light into darkness. Darkness represents what? You in a low state. You don't have the light, right? You ain't the front runner. You ain't on top. You the lowest of the low, and chased out of the world. He shall neither have son nor nephew among his people, nor any remaining in his dwellings. They that come after him shall be astonished at his day, as they that went before were affrighted. Surely such are the dwellings of the wicked, and this is the place of him that knoweth not the Most High. And it said the same thing in Isaiah. People gonna be in Ezekiel, people gonna be astonished, because they're gonna say, damn, you was on top at one time. Now your ass is the lowest piece of shit on the ground. Now also, this just popped in my head. I gotta get this. This is a bonus. Let's go over here and bring up the Apocrypha, because somebody's going to say, well, no, brother. It said anointed cherubs are angels, cherubs are angels. Sometimes men are called angels of the Lord, and angels are called men. Let's get 2nd Esdras, because the prophets are likened to angels. I just got to get this nugget real quick. 2nd Esdras chapter 1. Let's read that in the last verse. 2nd Esdras 1. I got to start at verse 38. And now, brother, behold, what glory, and see the people that cometh from the east, unto whom I will give for leaders Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, Osias, Amos, and Micah, Joel, Abdus, and Jonas, Nahum, and Habakkuk, Sophonius, Agis, Zachary, and Malachi, which is also called an angel of the Lord. Ooh, which is just messengers, man. So when you see anointed cherub that covers, don't get all messed up over that. It's just a figurative. It's a descriptive word. He's the messenger of what? The messenger of destruction. The cherub, the son of perdition. The cherub of destruction. So now we read with understanding Isaiah 27:1. In that day the Lord with his sore and great and strong sword shall punish Leviathan, the piercing serpent, even Leviathan, that crooked serpent, and he shall slay the dragon that is in the sea. And is there a literal Leviathan? And then there's a spiritual Leviathan, which is Esau, the so-called white man. So Lord willing, I pray that was edifying. Them dudes teaches the truth. They going off. They have no idea what the fuck they're talking about. This dude is a demon, a false prophet. And that breakdown is laughable, man. Okay? Because you don't know what you're talking about. Leviathan is